the orange has all these, or grapefruit has all these intersections, and if you divide it along the intersection that's naturally there, it's going to pull apart much more simply. It's that way with anything. So what got me thinking about this whole Tao thing is it also makes me think about, well, the natural flow of things. Okay, here's where to take this part of the conversation. The other thing I want to mention about the Tao is I said, too much noise coming from outside. I'm going to close the window. Nope, I'm not going to break that thermometer. I don't want to break that thermometer, god damn it. There we go. Alright. Now, let's just check the, what is the temperature? Where did I put the other thermometer? Fuck, where did the other thermometer go? Oh, over here. Let's see what the temperature is down to. It hasn't really gone down by being on the floor. So for some reason, this window lets the cool air in. It keeps the room cool, but it doesn't make it too chilly. It's peculiar like that. So the Tao, and the yin and the yang, the black and white paisley that goes, the symbol that goes with Taoism is the black. The black is the yang and the white is the yin. And what they basically mean, or the translation from Chinese, basically, yin basically means light, and black basically means yang basically means dark, or it's the difference between white and black, light and dark, day and night. That's essentially what the words yin and yang came from in Chinese, and so that's how we describe things. We talk about things being, it's not in black and white, or it's as different as day and night, or we even say, come to the light and get out of the darkness. You're in the dark, come to the light. And that's the opposites, the primal opposites of yin and yang, which are based in the Taoist whole philosophy is based on this. And if you look at that double paisley of the yin and the yang, the white and the black, what you'll notice is, they border each other symmetrically, and between the white and the black, whether it exists separately or just only in our own perception, there is the point of separation, the point of distinction between the white and the black. There must be at a certain point a borderline between the white. At a certain point, you're in the white, but you move into the black. At a certain point, you cross over from being in the white into being in the black, and there may be a middle point of an infinitesimal point, it's a quantum leap from the yin to the yang, or from the yang to the yin. It's a quantum leap to be moving from a spot where you are within the white to a spot within the yang. It's really on the quantum level. How infinitesimally small is it, the space between being white or black? And if there is a space between, how big is it? Does it exist in reality, or is it just an imaginary number? Is it just an imaginary space, as a borderline between the white and the black, the yin and the yang, the day and the night, the light and the dark? And in any case, that's very much similar. It relates. That's what the Twilight Zone. In fact, it even in the introduction to the Twilight Zone, when he's saying this is the borderline between, I don't remember exactly what his words were, but it was very similar to that. The borderline between day and night. You're entering the Twilight Zone, and that's the Twilight Zone is in a way the Tao, the path, the seam between, the invisible seam between, the Tao lights. Call it the Tao light zone. Very much the concept of the Twilight Zone was very much, whether it was conscious on the part of Rod Serling or not, very much a Taoist type of notion that there is between day and night, between white and black, there is this infinitesimal little zone that that may exist only in our own minds, the Twilight Zone. And there it is, the scene. So so having covered that, the thing that got me thinking about the Tao and the natural way, the natural flow of things, is I'm looking at my situations of opportunities. I'm finding that everywhere I go, there's like this door, all these things that I found. All these things I found this chair, I found this table, I found this vacuum cleaner, I found that lamp, I found this fan, I found this baby buggy carriage, I found this door, I found this trash can, I found everything. All this, most of the stuff I found. It was out there waiting for me, or it was out there waiting. It was out there waiting, and whether it was waiting for me or not for me had to do with how I took advantage of the opportunity. The opportunity was there. Even these things that I bought. That's funny. Up on the shelf, I have things I bought. I bought this picture frame for $5. Was it just 1 week ago today? Just 1 week. Boy, it sure seems like more because the days have had some more stuff going on. It was just 1 week ago today. I just rode out to check out a yard sale, and on the way there, I found another yard sale much closer, and they had this picture frame for $5. It's glass. It must certainly have cost a lot more when it was new, and it was new. It had never been used. It had remained in the box. They even gave me the box that it came in. I could probably look it up online and see what these things sell for. Now, that was an opportunity. I didn't have to buy this, but the opportunity was there. It was there for me to ponder a yes or a no, a yin or a yang. Am I going to absorb this into my world, or am I going to leave it? And that's how this glass candlestick was at a thrift shop a week before I moved, and I thought I liked it, and I asked how much, and she said $2, and I had to make that decision. Will I absorb this into? I felt like I had too many possessions already. Should I take one more? Is this nice enough to add it to my collection and not regret doing that? And this is a question, and I think let's just call it the yin and the yang, the yes and the no. We constantly, as we flow through our lives, we're constantly presented with opportunities that are there, presented to us, but we can choose yes or no. We can choose right or left, one way or the other, to take it or to leave it. We can choose. That's our basic decision. The Tao being the borderline between the yes and the no. And we're constantly flowing along that borderline, that Twilight Zone border, between the yin and the yang, the yes and the no. And to learn to navigate that, if there's like some mystical or esoteric notion that there's some specific practical thing to be learned from this whole philosophy, and I think there is. That's what intrigued me about Taoist philosophy, was it did seem to have practical applications, that it was something you could actually use without having to believe in any nonsense, any superstitious, any invisible type of beings. It had nothing to do with invisible beings or gods or any way. It just had to do with the natural way that things actually are, that everything that we encounter and experience, in all of it, there is the natural, the yin and the yang, the yes and the no, and the natural flow of the seam of the Tao, the Twilight Zone between. The Twilight Zone between yes and no. So this is what we navigate. Whether you want to say that you take any interest in Taoism or say that you believe in it at all, it's there, whether you believe it or not, because it's more of like a science. It's more like a scientific theory of gravity. It's like whether you want to believe in gravity or not, it's there. You have to deal with it, whether you even dismiss Isaac Newton as some kind of a heretic or some shit like that. You can't deny the effects of gravity that you experience every moment of your life. So Taoism is there whether you want to learn about it or believe in it or not. It's the natural way that things are all around. There is a yes and a no to everything. You can't just say, oh, well, I don't believe in that. It doesn't matter. You fucking don't want to believe in a yes or a no. You're still going to be faced with yes and no, light and dark, up and down, in and out, everywhere you go. It's not a religion. It's a philosophy. It's a philosophy that's more towards scientific philosophy. It's a scientific philosophy of the structure of all reality. That there's a yes and a no in everything. You can go to the right or you can go to the left. You can go up or you can go down. But you've got these choices everywhere you go. And the Tao is the middle line. The natural middle line, the twilight zone between yes and no, between light and dark. So this is what and as a philosophy, it's something. It's something to think about everywhere in all your experiences, wherever you happen to be, whatever situations you find yourself in. You can find yourself asking, well, in this situation, what'll it be? What'll it be? Will it be yes or no? You say goodbye and I say hello. I don't know why you say goodbye. I say hello. That song is all about yin and yang. You say goodbye and I say hello. You say stop and I say go, go, go. It's a Taoist, that, whether McCartney realized it or not, is a Taoist fucking song. Yes or no? Which it'll be, hello or goodbye. And everywhere you go, everything you do, you've got this question going. What is it, yes or no? There's just one thing I want to know. Will you stay or will it? Should I stay or should I go? That's a stupid version of the same notion. Should I stay or should I go? You say goodbye. You say stop. And I say, so, in every situation here, all of these things that I've collected, I've seen these things. Believe it or not, I have passed by other objects. So here we're back to the actual intention of me making this video. Or the actual original motivation was I was thinking about this. There are lots of situations where I have seen things thrown out that I haven't taken. The one that you see here, I bought this mirror. I spent $100 or $200 for this mirror, $100 for this mirror. So that's not included. But even then, it was at an auction. There were a matched pair of these mirrors, and I had to ask myself, was it worth it to me to bid on this pair of mirrors? Were they nice enough to want to spend that kind of extra money? More than I could just go and buy an ordinary mirror at Woolworths for $10 or something. Were these nice enough to want to spend the extra money, to make it worth it, spending the extra money to have these for perhaps the rest of my life? And my answer at that moment was yeah, it was. And when I get the other mirror to match it, and they'll face each other across the wall, then that will make this kind of an increase of the light will be amazing. The way you won't maybe necessarily even see it explicitly, but you'll sense it when you're standing here. First of all, instead of being in a confined space, here it's 10 feet across. This room is about 10 or 12 feet across, and it's a confined space. But with the mirrors, suddenly the space becomes visually the space becomes infinite, because you've got the mirror on the other side, and you see this infinite corridor on either direction. Suddenly your sense of confinement is relieved, And what it does with the light that's flowing between the two mirrors would be amazing. You won't necessarily see explicitly, but you will probably definitely feel that the room is lighter somehow, and you don't know why. And you might feel that you can breathe more easily because you're not feeling suffocated, because there's more light and there's a sense of infinite space. So even with this, which I paid money for, there was again the question, the yin or the yang, should I, yes or no? Is it a yes or is it? The same thing with the X Factor, or those such and such has talent, America has talent, Britain. The question is it a yes or is it a no? It comes down to that in the end. Is it a yes or is it a no? And they need 3 yeses, I guess, in those programs to go forward to the next stage. They need 3 yeses. So this might actually be, if I pay any attention to that show and what happens with it, that might also be useful as to incorporate it philosophically. That there is a notion of it has to, that a yes, that one yes may just be a weakness. You know, a yes versus a no, and you choose one yes, that might be a weak decision. It's the same way when you're choosing a password. You choose a simple password and say, no, this is a weak password. You need different arrangements of letters, or you need letters and numbers. And then, if you have enough of a variety of letters and numbers, it will say, okay, that's a strong password. That's a good idea to go with that. But just one little bit, it'll be weak. And a one yes might be a weak yes, a weak decision. But when you get 3 yeses, then you feel the strength of the Tao going, the strength of your decision. So in everything, somebody was just leaving. I hope they were leaving. In everything that you encounter, there's always a yes or a question of yes or no, and it's a question of opportunity. So I'm going to say that the Tao, the borderline between the yes and the no, is what you experience. Is what you experience in opportunities. Anytime an opportunity presents itself to you, and that's every single day, you've got a decision to make. Every time you have a decision to make, you're standing right there in the twilight zone between the yes and the no. And you've got to choose the quantum decision, the quantum leap between either going to the white or the black, going to the yes or the no. And there have been other things, other opportunities that I've had, other things that I found thrown out that I had to ask myself, is it a yes or a no? And I came to the conclusion, a no. I said, no, I better leave this, or no, I don't have the room for it, or whatever it is. I had to make that decision. So this is what's left. What I have here, that's the result of the opportunities that I said yes to. There are other opportunities, many other things I found in the trash that I said no to, some of which I ended up regretting. Some of them which I ended up looking back on and thinking, you know what, I should have taken that. I wish I had that object. And every time I've had that experience, it's only reinforced my concepts. The next time I find some object, that previous experience of knowing that sometimes you're better off not taking the thing, and sometimes you're going to end up regretting that you didn't take the thing if you didn't. And that makes me stop and ponder extra elements to my thinking when I look at something like this, and I think, well, do I need another fan? I already had a fan. Do I need another one? But I said, this one looks nice, and I said yes. I took it, and it turned out it was nicer than the other one that I already had. So it was I felt a good decision, a good yes. I went with the Tao was the opportunity of the fan being there, and then the yin and the yang was my decision of how to react to that opportunity. A yes or a no, take it or leave it. This thing, I picked this thing up, and as I picked it up, I was thinking, what do I need this for? This is just going to be extra clutter. But I only found, about 10 days later, I found it was exactly perfect for putting my keyboard on. And the fact that it's light, and I can pick it up easily with one hand, that's actually to its advantage for this use. For having a keyboard on, I don't need it. I don't need to have a heavy table just for supporting the keyboard. And that makes it easier for me to move this out of the way when I want to take the keyboard off it again, and then move the table. I don't have to pick it up, and it's so heavy to move it. It's too inconvenient. It is precisely convenient for the purpose that I've now ascribed to it of being a keyboard. Look at how it even fits. No, well, it doesn't fit this way because I need to be looking at the screen when I'm using it. So here is the end of this whole thing. Gosh, this is really long, and I can't believe if anybody's actually listening to this. Probably not. This dumpster yesterday. This dumpster where 2 or 3 days earlier I had gotten this door, which was exactly. This was the towel where it wasn't even a difficult decision. This was the situation where the opportunity was. There was no question to even ask. The only question to ask at this point was, how do I get it out of there and how do I get it back to my place? Because this was the presentation. Sometimes you wish for something. You think, there's something I want, something I need, something I could use in this space. I really need this. And I had looked at this door, and I had already on my own worked out, if the door is hollow, they can hear me outside. I want to soundproof it. And what I need to do is to have some kind of an inner door in this space right here. That would do it. So in my mind, I had this image of this solid wooden door that would soundproof that space there, so that I could rant to myself about anything, everything, and not worry that people out in the hall are overhearing what I'm saying, and then I might feel embarrassed. So I already had the image in my head, and then the very thing I had the image of shows up just across the bridge in that dumpster. The only question was, how do I get it home? And it was like, wow, sometimes opportunity just lands in your lap. And that was like the towel. That was like just hitting the grain of wood and having it fall apart exactly the way you wanted it. And sometimes things show up exactly as you want it. And the other thing that was with this, there was the metal door that was with this, that was even a little wider than this. And it probably would have been perfect that this one could be the inner door, and then the metal door could have been just outside of that. Would have been maybe too perfect. The question was, did I need that extra metal door? Well, would it have ended up being a burden? Would I have perhaps hurt my back trying to move that metal door, trying to across the bridge and down into this apartment? And then once it was in the apartment, would it have ended up actually just being something I couldn't use that was taking up space? Or not? Or would it have turned out to be exactly what I needed? That's the question. That's the yin versus yang. That's the Tao question. Should I go in and make that effort to take that metal door or not? I had no question about the wooden door. The wooden door was exactly what I had imagined for this space, and it will work out perfectly if I can just cut 3 or 4 inches off the top of it, exactly to work out exactly as I had pictured that space. But the question was, did I need the extra, the metal door, the extra measure there, or was that too much? And would it ended up being useless to me and then simply be a burden to me when I moved out of the apartment to have to get rid of that metal door and then find I couldn't and had to pay someone to take it away? That's the question. And there were a number of items in that dumpster that I was interested in thinking that I might want to take, and I wasn't certain about. This wooden thing, I think it was a solid wooden block. It looked like a packing crate, but when I pushed on it, it didn't seem to move at all. It really felt like it was heavy, solid wood, and I never got up and tried lifting it to really find that out. But it might have been a solid, I don't know why, who made it or why. It might have been a working table that somebody's used, I don't know. But it was too late, because I went back last evening, the dumpster was gone. So all those items, there was a metal pipe that was about this thick that, I found this metal pipe in another dumpster, It weighs about 5 or 6 pounds. Just lifting it on its own is a little bit of a muscular exercise. And I can attach weights on the end of it. And I actually have weights out in the woods. I'm sure nobody's taken them, and I know exactly where I left them. So I can attach weights to this and use it as a barbell. And this might be the width of this that my hand can grip it might be making more sense. I saw these 2 metal pipes that were about this thick in that dumpster, and they weighed like 20, 30 pounds each, maybe 40. I didn't actually lift it to find out, but it must have weighed at least 20 pounds, probably more. And I was thinking, well, heck, this is neat. All the weight is in the thing itself. You don't even have to attach weights to give it extra weight. You just have this metal pipe in your apartment. It takes up very little space, and anytime you want to exercise, you pick it up, and there you go. But, of course, I didn't take them, so they're gone. So I'm left wondering, and all I can do is wonder, because the opportunity is gone. The opportunity was there, but it was a brief window of opportunity. And if you don't grab that opportunity at the time, okay, so here's where it all comes back to philosophical, a whole philosophical treatise here. The Tao makes me question about, it makes you wonder about opportunities that present themselves, and how do you deal with the choices, because there's usually, in any opportunity, there's a time frame, there's a brief window of opportunity in most things, especially when it comes to finding things or encountering opportunities. I hope that's not a crack on that. No, it isn't. It's just a line from behind it. The window of opportunities in the yard sale is very brief. You've got a couple hours, and if you're coming at the end of the yard sale, sometimes you only have a couple minutes. Sometimes you only have a couple minutes to make a decision, yes or no. Is it worth me to bring this item back, to pay a few dollars and have this item that I'm going to have to find a place for and find a use for, or will it be just an extra piece of garbage lying around useless to me? Sometimes you only have a minute or two to make that decision. In the case of an auction, you only have a few seconds sometimes to decide, am I going to raise my hand or am I not? Because if I don't raise my hand, it's gone to the other person. Sometimes your window of opportunity is only a matter of seconds. And you find this, you know this from playing video games. You've got some object flying at you, or some object that you're passing by, and you have to either grab it or lose it. And you've got just a moment to decide. Are you going to grab it, or are you going to let it fly by? And sometimes you try to grab things. Sometimes there are things that you try to grab that end up not being really to your advantage to have. Some things are not to you. Sometimes it's to your advantage to not have things. Sometimes it's to your advantage to have fewer things rather than more things. And when you're moving, you definitely say, what the hell do I need all this shit for? Why? But it accumulates because of all the moments in your life where you're confronted with this, should I take it or should I leave it? Question. And there's a lot of other items in the past. A lot that I said I should leave, and that I actually was better off, even though there was some reason to be tempted to take the thing. It was a better decision in the end to leave it. Some things I thought at the moment, I thought, well, it'd probably be wiser not to take this, and then I realized as soon as it was too late, that I could have used that precise, it was exactly what I needed. So it was exactly what you needed, exactly when you needed it, but it was still up to you to decide the course of your fate, of whether you would take it or leave it. You still have your fate in your own hands, or you're dealing. You still find yourself dealing. It's not passive. It's not necessarily aggressive, but it's not passive, because you're always involved in this yin and yang. Is this something that, as long as you're alive, you're involved in this constant yin and yang of should I take it or should I go? leave it? Should I reach for it, or should I let it go by? And sometimes you